So today I want to talk about some healthcare marketing tips for the pelvic health physical therapist. And if you're in the healthcare sector, you know that things change all the time. From the latest treatment technique to new insurance guidelines that we have to follow, the same thing is true for marketing your practice, and it's essential for your practice to thrive. So pelvic health physical therapists play a critical role in addressing a range of pelvic dysfunction for both men and women. Unfortunately, there are barriers to the lack of education and understanding of this profession and the services that we can offer, and this sometimes can impact the success of some practices. This is where a solid marketing strategy comes into play. I want to provide you with invaluable healthcare marketing tips specifically tailored to pelvic health physical therapy practices, and by implementing these ideas, you can hope to see a boost in your practice's success, increase caseload numbers, and overcome barriers and challenges that are commonly faced by you, the pelvic health physical therapist, and your patient. So before we dive into specific healthcare marketing tips, I think it's important to talk about the current trends and challenges faced by the pelvic health industry. And we can all agree that with the booming digital era, the way our patients seek healthcare services has changed tremendously from even 10 years ago. And by understanding this, it can help you, the pelvic health physical therapist, create an effective marketing strategy that speaks to your target audience. Let's dive into some of the healthcare marketing trends that I'm seeing currently, and these can change over time, but I would say the top 3 as of right now include embracing digital presence, utilizing educational content marketing, and I think it's important for pelvic health practices to also consider telehealth services. I want to break these 3 trends down one by one, so that you can kind of see what I'm meaning by these and how they could fit into your pelvic health practice. So first, embracing a digital presence. In a time primarily dominated by technology, having a strong online presence is critical for the success of any healthcare practice, not just the pelvic health physical therapy practice specifically. As I was saying, it's important you have a professional website. You can develop this yourself or you can have somebody else develop it for you, but this website is going to be the digital face of your business. And it's also beneficial to step into the social media world, utilizing these types of platforms to engage with your audience, share educational content, and build trust with your community in regards to the topic of pelvic health. In that same token of leveraging your social media platforms, it's important to create content that is deemed valuable by your target audience. Creating content that educates potential patients and answers questions that your ideal client might have in regards to pelvic health. So the use of different content formats is also beneficial. From audio, video, written, social content, email marketing, you're able to reach a specific audience, but in a widespread manner. And by providing content in various formats, you're meeting your audience where they're at and catering to various learning styles in the process. Especially when I'm listening or trying to learn new information. When I used to commute a lot to and from work, I would listen to podcasts because that's what fit into my day. Now that I'm at home, I tend to watch more YouTube videos. I think it's important to make sure that you are kind of widespread across these different platforms so that your audience is able to engage in the content that you provide and however best fits their lifestyle. So another great thing about creating content surrounding pelvic health is that it helps to unpack certain conditions and treatment methods, as well as provide your potential patient with a sense of empowerment. And by doing this, you're not only building a relationship with your audience, but you're also establishing trust and credibility, helping potential patients to feel more comfortable making the decision to work with you. We've touched on this before, but the importance of your audience that is following you to know, like, and trust you is critical if they're ever going to buy your services. And then lastly, considering telehealth services. Once again, in an age where society relies heavily on digital platforms, considering offering telehealth services as a pelvic health physical therapist could potentially benefit your practice. Take it from me, a physical therapist by trade and experienced pelvic health PT. When I first considered the idea of telehealth for pelvic health patients, it kind of seemed strange to me. And really, I thought to myself, how am I supposed to provide hands-on treatment and manual interventions to these patients if they were to be seen via the computer? In theory, we as pelvic health physical therapists strive to move our patients towards the ability to independently manage their own symptoms. And whether this be with the purchase of a pelvic rehab tool, such as pelvic wands or dilators, or just empowering the patient with the ability to perform self-massage for their C-section scarring, there are so many different ways that we can reach and benefit this population virtually. And so when I began looking at it from this perspective of supporting patient independence, I could see where telehealth could successfully fit into the pelvic health practice. And again, if you're not so sure about going completely virtual with your pelvic health patients, it's okay. You don't have to do that. The opportunity to offer virtual consultations to screen if a patient fits into your practice methods, or offering virtual exercise sessions only, but keeping more hands-on and manual sessions in person could be options too. Offering virtual sessions also could potentially expand your reach beyond your local clinical setting and attract an even larger client base if that's something you're interested in. Moving into more of like the healthcare marketing tips. So we just covered healthcare marketing trends and some of the things that we're seeing right now, but now we're going to get into more of like the marketing tips themselves. So basically here are an overview of my key marketing tips that I would recommend for a pelvic health practice. Just kind of an overview. Number 1 is targeted advertising. Number 2 is patient testimonials and success stories. Number 3, collaboration with other healthcare professionals. And then lastly, community engagement. And so I've been providing marketing services for a little over a year now, and I've seen the wonders it has done for a pelvic health practice based out of Kentucky simply by implementing these tips into her marketing strategy. Marketing in itself, not just healthcare marketing, is a slow game of consistency, data collection, analysis, kind of regrouping, and then implementation of all of these things. The first marketing tip that I have for the pelvic health practice is considering targeted advertising. So as a pelvic health PT, you probably already have an idea of who your target audience is. You specialize in pelvic health dysfunction and can even have a more narrow scope if you specialize in specific types of pelvic health dysfunction, i.e. Pregnancy patients or postpartum patients, or specifically only women's health and not male pelvic floor dysfunction. But again, you probably have your target audience if you have a pelvic health practice. And because of your niche and target audience, so your niche is the specialty that you provide and the service that you offer based on the problems that you solve, developing a targeted advertising campaign becomes a lot more simple when you have your niche and your target audience. So advertising platforms like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and Google ads can allow you to create highly targeted content that reaches the audience of your choice, specifically those of a specific age, location, and interest. So once again, you want to tailor your content to address specific pelvic health issues and answer specific questions that your ideal client may have. It's also handy to be able to utilize a specific piece of content you've created in the past that has done well with your audience to then turn into a targeted advertisement. So rather than having to create a whole new piece of content for your ads, you just use something that you already made that your audience really liked. I'd like to mention that running ads is not for the beginner marketer. There are many steps that must fall into place when setting up an effective advertisement campaign, which may be more appropriate for someone who's more skilled in marketing services. This doesn't mean that you can't try odds on your own as a pelvic health PT, but it would be wise to consult a marketing specialist to ensure you're on the right track. After all, ads cost money, and you want your money going into something that is going to reap benefits for you and your practice. The next marketing tip that I have is showcase patient testimonials and success stories. So we all love a good success story, right? Our audience does too. Ensure that when finishing with a current patient's plan of care, that you ask them if they would feel comfortable providing a short written quote or even a short video clip of their satisfaction when working with you. Testimonials can be key to helping your audience relate to patients that you've had in the past or worked with in the past. And if a potential patient can resonate with the struggles a former patient was going through and then see that there is hope for their current problem, this can be really powerful in driving potential leads to your practice. So marketing tip number 3, collaborate with other healthcare professionals. We're all in this together. As healthcare professionals, I think it's safe to say that our goal is to benefit our patients and provide them with what they need to live a higher quality of life. As a pelvic health physical therapist, you have a specific patient population you're looking to work with, which also means there are a few specific healthcare professionals that also see these types of patients too. Establish relationships with your local obstetrician, gynecologists, and even primary care doctors. Some other examples would be doulas, birth coaches, non-clinical birth workers, midwives. Establish relationships with these individuals because these relationships will not only benefit you, but those other healthcare professionals as well. Feeling confident in another healthcare provider's treatment philosophy once getting to know them will allow you to confidently refer your patients to them if the situation arises. The same goes with these healthcare professionals referring to you. Building these relationships could significantly boost your caseload and build a network of trusted colleagues within your area, helping you all collectively to help patients get the services they need in the best way possible. So lastly, marketing tip number 4 is to engage with your local community. So this tip is especially helpful for brick and mortar pelvic health practices or even virtual practices that are seeking to help people in their local area. I would say with engaging in your local community, start with contacting local fitness centers. Get to know personal trainers in the area, establish relationships with different community services. It's a bonus if you can connect with local businesses that provide services specific to your ideal client. For example, if you can track down a personal trainer who specializes in working with moms, or a local fitness center that's whole marketing strategy is to empower female fitness. These would be great connections to have as a pelvic health practice. Go to these facilities, become a member if you can, and build relationships within these facilities' walls. It's often important that you invest your time before requesting something in return. And this could look like joining your local fitness center and working out there for a few months before approaching the manager or facility owner. Trust me, it seems a lot more professional if you invest your time and or your money in a facility before asking for something in return. Once you've established relationships, offer to host workshops, webinars, or participate in the facility's annual health fair. Figure out how you and your services can fit into the community facility's values and how you can add to that. Engaging with these community facilities not only helps to increase awareness about public health, but could potentially put you directly in front of potential patient leads. So let's kind of talk about breaking down barriers. There are often barriers and poor stigmas surrounding the topic of pelvic health. As a pelvic health PT, I'm certain you deal with this on a daily basis and strive to educate others to set them on the right track. I think it's important to remember that people don't know what they don't know, but we can do something about that. Implementing healthcare marketing strategies that benefit your practice helps to break down societal taboos surrounding pelvic health, creating space for open conversation. And that's what we want after all. The ability for the people who need our services to feel comfortable seeking our services without fear of shame or disapproval. We can promote a safe environment with our marketing strategies by addressing common misconceptions and educating the world on the benefits of pelvic health services and how to find them. This can be made possible by creating appropriate content, having conversations with community members or facilities, and so much more that has already been mentioned in this whole video. If you're serious about breaking down barriers, consider providing free resources. This could look like free ebook, downloadable guides, informative video content that empowers individuals to take control of their pelvic health. And again, it's important to understand that by providing these free resources, you are investing your time and efforts into helping others without expecting them to turn around and buy your services immediately. A good phrase for this would be yoga whippy. You only get out what you put in. By providing these free services, you help to build your credibility and trust with your audience, and long-term could potentially result in patients looking to address their pelvic health dysfunction. So what you put in now could really reap benefits later. So in conclusion, in our ever-changing healthcare world, it's important to consider effective marketing as a critical component for any pelvic health physical therapy practice. By embracing healthcare marketing trends, implementing specific strategies, and working to break down barriers faced by this population of providers and patients, you're on the right path to increase your caseload and make a positive impact on the well-being of our world. By following these healthcare marketing tips, the pelvic health PT can pave the way for a thriving and impactful practice. And if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed as a pelvic health practice owner, or if you want to learn more about how I could potentially help you in your practice, get in touch with me. There'll be a link to book a discovery call in the description below. I'd love to get to know you, learn about your practice, and help you meet your goals. Or you can check out my website, which will be linked as well, or follow me on Instagram and Facebook at The Pelvic Marketer, where I post new content all the time. Just valuable information about my business, myself, my services, and really just the benefits of marketing for your pelvic health practice in general. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope to talk soon.